Welcome back to the 20 something Toolkit. This is Ben Lamort. Today we're talking about a bonus episode, the execution superpower your 20s are missing. See, in the best-selling book Measure What Matters, John Doerr, the venture capitalist who invested in Google and made millions of dollars and is one of those billionaire guys down in the Silicon Valley, well, he famously called OKRs a superpower. Now, he was talking about companies, but I think he may have missed something because this so-called superpower might just make an even bigger impact on the world if you can apply it to your 20s, not just to a corporation. OKRs, which stands for Objectives and Key Results, is a proven approach to goal definition and execution. It's been around for about 50 years. OKRs started out at Intel, got adopted by Oracle, but was made very popular by Google. And now, today, we're talking thousands of organizations across virtually all industries, even nonprofits, are using OKRs. So why? Because this framework forces you to ask the right questions. What is the most important area to make improvements now? Why? What does measurable progress look like? How will we know we've achieved the objective? How will we stay focused, and what are we learning along the way? Now, at its core, OKRs, well, it's about clarity, accountability, and making measurable progress, as well as learning and applying that learning into your next OKR cycle. For the past 15 years, I've worked with executives to help them use OKRs in order to drive execution inside their businesses. But recently, I started asking myself a different question. Why should structured execution from something like OKRs be reserved only for businesses? You see, your 20s are your defining decade. Skills develop, your habits compound, your network explodes, your identity capital can grow and go all the way to the moon. Yet in your 20s, you're going to often get advice like explore, follow your passion. My favorite, do what you love and the money will follow. Most of us in our 20s are not actually taught how to define measurable goals and execute against these goals. It's just not part of the college curriculum. So I've tried adapting the full OKR cycle with 20-somethings. And the thing is, it's working. And that's the reason why we're doing this bonus episode. I mean, looking back on it, it was probably inevitable, given my background, that I bring OKRs into my work with 20-somethings. It just happened a lot faster than I expected. See, in this case, OKRs are not for driving revenue or improving customer satisfaction. No, it's about personal growth. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how this works. To do this best, I think it's going to help to jump right into a case study based on one of my current coaching clients. Alex, well, name changed and used with permission. Thank you, Alex, right? You know who you really are. Alex is a graduating business major. He's really smart, super capable, quite social, but not that clear about his next step after college. He let me know he was actually quite unhappy with his daily routine. Like, he felt like he was just sleeping in too late. He lacked a consistent daily routine. He started to feel anxious about not knowing what would happen after graduation. And he was feeling like most of his friends seemed to be pretty clear about their plans when he looked over things on LinkedIn. So instead of trying to solve his entire life, I started designing a 90-day OKR program with him. Alex, it turns out, had two objectives. One, improve daily execution, and two, get post-graduation direction looking out into the next year. So let's dive into his first objective, improve the daily routine. We start with why. It's because Alex wants to improve his current mood and get more energy. Why now? Well, graduation is approaching. His habits feel like they matter even more right now. This is no longer the time to party every night and just hang out in and sleep in. See, notice something important. This isn't just something like be more disciplined. It was about becoming someone who runs his day intentionally. And we talked about why and why now. The why now creates a sense of urgency because Alex realizes he's about to graduate. This is his last chance in college to get his daily routines on track so that when he graduates and enters the so-called real world, he'll be on a roll. Key result 1, wake up earlier. I know this resonates with a lot of my 20-somethings out there. So Alex is currently waking up, between 10 and 11 a.m., sometimes even noon, like on weekends. But anyway, think of this as his current state. We call it a baseline in OKR speak. This is where you currently are. You're at least knowing of what that time is. And also, The guy has a Apple Watch, so he can track his wake up time. It's all there in his metrics, so you can't hide behind the data. The key result is out of his house by 9:30 a.m. on 80% of weekdays. And we started tracking that weekly. He wasn't quite hitting it, to be honest, but he was trending in a positive direction and started feeling good about that trend. What he noticed was more energy, more confidence. The insight was just a small behavioral change can lead to the beginning of a positive identity shift. Key result number 2, more consistently keep up and even stay ahead with homework assignments. So this key result was improve from 1 to 2 days of focused homework days to 5 days per week of 2 hours or more dedicated to academic work. Now, when you say you're going to work, right, and you actually get that work done on something valuable or important in your direction, see, something changes internally. You start to experience a small win. You feel like you're making measurable progress on an important goal, and this is going to drive more engagement with the actual work that you're doing. Key result number 3, eat with friends. The target was to increase from just 1 to 2 scheduled meals with friends each week to 5. See, the problem here was that Alex was just randomly eating whenever it sort of worked out for him, and it was always last minute, and he wasn't like on a plan like when he was a freshman where he would always dine with the same freshman buddies, or later when he was living in this one house where they all kind of cooked together. This particular case, Alex was living in this random frat as a senior and just going around and eating wherever it happened to be. And what he realized was that the relationships that he maintained and built, that's like part of his identity capital. Isolation started to increase. He started to feel like, wait, am I gonna just graduate from college and just be like having these feelings of loneliness? Rumination started to increase. What he realized was when he has connection, especially while eating, it can stabilize him. It can create possibilities through discussions about whatever's coming up, different events, different concerts, job ideas, even places to live or things to do after college. And when something matters with OKRs, we commit to measuring it and setting that target level for improvement. Key result 4, triathlon training with friends. This guy, Alex, is a pretty good athlete. So his target is to get 2 times per week outside formal commitments with a stretch of hitting 3 workouts per week. And these workouts are intense in 1, 2, or all 3 of the categories of triathlon. Now, this wasn't just about fitness. This was about discipline. This is about accountability. This is about training towards something that is hard, because doing hard things consistently changes how you look at yourself. Because doing hard stuff builds identity capital. What it does is it shows you that you can do hard things. And that's going to give you confidence that you can take on to that next challenge in life. KR5, right? Key result number 5 was improve piano practice. The stretch goal was 20 minutes per day or more, 6 days per week. Wow, right? Why include this? Well, Alex was in a band and he just felt like he wasn't improving. He was kind of getting by. It wasn't as much fun to do his solos without a game plan for improvement. He didn't want to do the same thing every time because he often played to the same audience. So he wanted to jazz it up. He needed something to look forward to. So he needed that. It needed to be part of his daily routine because that was important to Alex. But with 5 key results, we stopped. I told him, you really can't add more than that. This isn't a list of everything you want to do. Now, what we did include was what we call health metrics. And these are other important things that we want to measure and monitor, but we're not focused on improving because they're already at a pretty good level. And this included things like participate in 1 to 2 intramural games per week, hit the gym 3 to 5 times each week, read for fun about 4 hours a week, things like that he was already doing. So it wasn't like he felt, oh no, I need to go from 3 or 4 workouts every week at the gym to 5 or 6. He was happy with 3 or 4. Similarly, playing 1 or 2 IM games each week was fine. It wasn't like, let me see if I can double that and get that to 4. So those were not key results. That's what we call health metrics to maintain and monitor. Objective number 2, nail down the post-college plan. Now, this objective was very touchy-feely with Alex. He said, because I asked him, I said, why is this important to you? And he said, I just need something amazing to look forward to after graduation. I just feel like a letdown after I'm going to be done with college, especially if I'm going to move back in with my parents and just not really have a game plan. That just really scares me. It makes me feel like maybe I failed. Maybe I failed to think about my future at all. I mean, I need a plan. So I don't want to just feel like life is happening to me and I'm just going through the motions. I want to take more control of my life. See, I think Alex has clarity. He knows what his objective is, and he knows why it's important. Key result 1 was summer plan. For this key result, he said a commit, target, stretch, which is basically like 3 levels of progress. The commitment is, what do I know I can do? Okay, 2 applications for summer programs have been sent. So it's very easy for him to do that. He knows he can do that. He feels like if I don't get my 2 applications out for summer programs, I failed. The stretch was to actually get 2 offers for summer programs and take the best. That would be amazing. And the target, which is somewhere in between that commitment level and that stretch level, is get accepted into 1 program. Ideally, this program should allow me to make friends, have a new cultural experience, be outside, and or learn more about my longer term interests in the area of marketing or business analytics, or even about business roles in different industries that actually focus on outdoor activities like Outward Bound or a backpacking trip company, something like that. You see, Alex, when we did his value mapping, really loves to be outside with people. So that's helping inform what he might be doing for this summer, where he feels like he should be celebrating the completion of school. And of course, summer is a great time to be outside. Key result 2, the 1-year plan. The current situation for Alex is not really having any clear plan or direction at all for the next year. So the target level for this key result is a clear LinkedIn statement positioning him for a specific role with a completed in-person interview at one of these target companies. The stretch key result, this is the stretch level. In other words, this would be amazing if it happened, is to get a job offer starting sometime in 2026, so before the end of the year, with at least $75,000 salary in San Francisco or New York. And that's primarily because Alex felt like he has friends in the San Francisco Bay Area, and there's a cohort of people moving to New York, and it would be really fun to go to New York. So notice this, right? He's got his second key result looking at a 1-year plan. Key result 3, it turns out, was marketing research lab success. He was doing some business school research in this marketing group, and in the back of his mind, Alex was thinking about targeting an MBA or doing some kind of a master's degree related to marketing. And he had a great group of people he was doing research with. And so the target level for this key result was to achieve an offer for unpaid 15 to 20 hours a week of research with a free stats and marketing class. I was actually very excited about what Alex learned. Alex learned that if you do this research, if you do it for free as a volunteer, you qualify to take classes for free with your professor's permission. And he found that those 2 classes, stats and marketing, would position him very well for a high-paying job, let's say, down the road. And the stretch, $25 an hour paid offer for the research and the access to 2 classes. What it does is it transforms sort of a vague exploration of what am I going to do, to make my 1-year plan into a concrete plan with measurable progress along the way. So what had actually happened, right? Well, so far, did Alex achieve his stretch goal every time? No, of course not. It's not the point to achieve your stretch goal every time. You want to make progress on your goal. So here's what's changing right now. We're about halfway through this quote OKR cycle, which started in January and ends in roughly mid-May. His wake-up time is improving, and he's tracking that. His focus time on homework is consistently on the rise. Grades are up. Social structure, increasing because he's seeing people for meals. Triathlon training, he has the discipline. The piano puts him in a state of flow. He's happy about it. His solos are jamming. His applications are already out for the summer. The lab hours are getting more intentional, and he's trying to do really good jobs so he can get that paid position. And the LinkedIn positioning is starting to take shape. But here's the thing. He shifted from being reactive. Remember when he said, "It feels like life is just happening to me," to being proactive. He shifted from, "Gee, I hope things work out," to, "I'm running a focused 90-day experiment to see if I can achieve and make progress on my most important goals." So why does this work? Well, see, the OKR cycle, which is typically 90 days, and when I'm working with my clients, we'll go between 60 to 120 days. 60 days is like a super short cycle. 120 days is kind of a little bit of a longer cycle. Depending on your situation, you'll be somewhere in that range. But you're going to have structure, but I don't pressure you. There's no pressure here. You're going to have accountability, but I'm your coach. I don't control you. And you're going to not have parents needing to nag you, because I tell you what, when Alex showed his OKRs to his parents said, "Wow, okay, yeah, you have a great plan. We'll stay out of your way." The parents just said, "Okay, good. I'm glad to know that you're heading in a direction. I'm not going to try to control you and all that, but like it feels good for the parent to just know, okay, my kid is going down a path and managing things. Because the coachee, right, that's the person, Alex, that I'm coaching, does not need to necessarily feel overwhelmed now. Instead, they begin to build clarity around their goals. See, we create an action plan for each of these key results, like 3 to 4 things you're going to do in the next week or two to drive that key result forward. So every one of those key results, Alex is saying, at the end of the week, he says, okay, what am I going to do to try to achieve these key results over the next week or two? And what's going to happen is you start to develop self-accountability. This is really one of the most critical skills you can develop in order to be effective in the work world or just in life in general. And if you're in your 20s, this is the time to build it, because that skill of self-accountability, it's going to grow and compound over the next 3 to 4 decades of your life. And that's going to connect directly to the concept of identity capital. This is the concept popularized by Meg Jay, the author of The Defining Decade. This is the idea that the experiences, skills, and relationships that you build in your 20s are going to compound over time. And these types of experiences and skills can often matter more than your short-term income. Even though we live in a society where it's all about how much money you're making, your identity capital, which is all about your development, can be even more important in your 20s. And for more on that, go back to my first bonus episode on identity capital. See, OKRs simply provides a structure for you to intentionally develop that capital. So now it's your turn. If you've heard everything I've said so far, you're probably thinking, wow, okay, OKRs. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. How could I get started on that? The key, as with all things in life, is start simple, right? Just download my free OKR template. You're going to see that in the show notes. You can just click on it. And then I want you to use that template. Just identify this one area, that's one objective for you in your life to focus on improving for the next 90 days. Just one. Let's start with one. Trust me, this is where you want to be. This should be something that's really meaningful to you, right? Where do you really want to focus to make measurable improvements in the near term? And this can be something like daily routines or your career direction, as with Alex, right? It could be something like improve your physical health, right, around exercise and diet. It could be something like expand your network. Maybe you're thinking about finding a job, but you realize, yeah, I just need to know more people in different industries because you're exploring. Maybe you want to develop certain skills. You want to develop your skills in R because you're going to be doing statistics or whatever it is. Maybe you want to prepare for a grad school program. Great. So you're going to make an objective around learning about whether you even want to apply for it, or maybe improving that test score, whatever it is that you need to get in, getting those letters of recommendation. Once you've decided the area that you want to improve, I want you to think about, why does this matter? Why is it so important for you? I mean, you only got to choose one area, and this is the area you chose. So why is that the most important area for you to focus on improvement in your life right now? And I want to emphasize why now, because when you do this, you create urgency. If you can't clearly articulate why this objective is so important to you and why now, it's probably not the right objective. And then once you have the objective and you validated it by confirming you know why and why now, I want you to create 2, 3, 4, at most 5 measurable key results. I want you to ask yourself, how will we know that you've made progress in the next 90 days? What can you point to that shows proof, right? And it shouldn't be something like try harder or get more focused or make more to-do lists. It's not a vague statement. It's actually a measurable outcome that is not subject to opinion. And this can be kind of difficult. I'll give you some more examples of the key results, right? Wake up before 9:30 a.m. on 80% of weekdays, right? There you go. Document the learnings from 10 informational interviews with contacts in my network. Increase the 185-pound barbell bench press from 3 sets of 5 to 4 sets of 8. Your key results should make your progress visible. Once you have them, I invite you to email your draft OKRs or whatever OKR you come up with to ben@okrs.com. I will review that personally. And when you send it to me, if you actually do that, I am going to offer you a complimentary 30-minute Zoom coaching session. And I'll refine your objective with you on the fly. I'll help you to improve your key results, clarify your why now, make sure it's validated, right? And during that conversation, we can explore what a structured 90-day coaching cycle might look like for you. And even if you don't continue coaching with me, you're going to walk away with sharper clarity. Because you see, clarity is going to set the stage for the changes in behavior that can move you in the right direction. And making progress, which is execution that gets you closer to achieving your most important goals, is going to build confidence. It's going to create momentum, which in turn will help you to build more identity capital, which is one of the key things you can do in your 20s. Okay, obviously I'm pretty excited about this. Look, I've been working with OKRs for 15 years. I've helped hundreds of companies and thousands of managers make progress on their most important goals at work. But I see OKRs as not just a business tool. I believe we can use OKRs now as a personal development tool. And because you're in your 20s, that's my target, right? You're in your 20s there. Or maybe you're the parent of somebody in your 20s. This is your defining decade. This is it, people. So the next 90 days are going to matter a lot more than you might realize. Execution and self-accountability are life skills that are never too early to develop. I hope you found today's episode useful, and I hope you take on the OKR challenge. Thanks for listening to today's bonus episode. I'll see you next time.